Positioning is all about understanding the who. Who are we servicing? Who is our ICP or our ideal client profile? And what is the specific messaging? What is the specific positioning that we need to entrench ourselves in order to get their attention and carve out a piece of the market? Now, the next part of this is about building an offer for that ICP to service your market position. You're going to see a lot of similarities and a lot of tie-in to what we just talked about in terms of market positioning, because they really go hand in hand. Your offer is really all about satisfying that market position. Now, you might have heard this concept of offers floating around, especially in the internet marketing community. I'm sure you want to start a business. You've probably seen people like Alex Hormozi, some other folks talking about offers. So the way that we define offers in the agency space is similar, but a little bit different. So I just want to read this to you so you can know exactly what it means. So let's define this real quick. An offer is the vehicle which begins the exchange of value for dollars, right? Your business for customers. It's also ties into the messaging that attracts potential customers to your business. So again, the positioning is all about who, the offer is a little bit more about what. What are we doing? How are we going to help these customers transform? It's how we communicate our positioning and value to the market, and it aims to capture how we will solve the problems and pain points for our target customers while detailing who we're targeting, what they want, and how we'll help them get there. The end result is summarized into an offer statement, and we're going to unpack this a lot. This is a very simple exercise. It just helps you distill simpleness, conciseness, clearness. I don't even know if those are real words, but hopefully it makes sense. The key to a great offer is something that makes sense instantly when somebody sees it. So we want to distill it down to something very, very simple and very easy to understand and digest. So for example, our agency Webris, we help law firms generate new cases by dominating all aspects of search engines. So it talks about who, it talks about how, right? By getting search engines, it talks about what they want, which is ultimately getting new cases. So I'm going to help you craft your offer statement in this video. But first, we're going to go through a bunch of things that build up to it so you can understand the psychology of an offer. So many people get this confused. So let's start by talking about what an offer is not, because this is a huge mistake that pretty much all agencies make. An offer is not what you're doing for them, right? So it's not search engine optimization, PPC, design, video editing, whatever. That's not your offer, that's your service. We don't want to lead with that because it's not sexy. People don't want services. They don't want to pay for stuff. It's not inherently natural to what we want to do. Now, there's a subset of the market who might come to you and self-select saying, I want SEO because I've seen this before, because I've had a website, because I've done my own research. Those are people that are all the way down the bottom of the funnel, already in market. We're talking about going to people who have no idea what you are, have no idea what you do, but satisfy your market position, right? So for us, an attorney, they might not know that they need what we do, but it's the role of the offer to entice them and to bring them in, right? So an offer is not what you do for them in terms of services. It is the problem that you solve, but we'll talk more about that in a second. It's also not what they're getting, right? Number of articles, number of ads, in terms of the details or the scope of your work. That is not your offer. That's a scope of work. Or what you're charging. It's not your pricing. It's not how much it costs. We never want to, pricing is not an offer. If anything, we want to push pricing to the back end of the conversation. We want to use the offer to get them enticed. And the way that we do that is by focusing on them, focusing on their problems. Services are all about us, but their problems are all about them. People care about their problems. People are willing to pay for solutions to their problems, not just what we identify or what we push on them as a potential solution to a problem that they may or may not have, right? So your offer is the output or result or benefits of working with you or how they will feel. For example, attorneys don't want SEO, they want leads. And they don't just want leads, they want new cases. Even more specifically, on top of that, we've learned this a lot from going through the sales process with attorneys, is that they don't want a lot of leads because they take all the phone calls themselves. So they don't want 100 new leads per month if only one of them is going to end up in a new case. They'd rather have one call per month that's going to end up in a new case. So that language is important too. And that feels into our offer, that feels into our positioning. The more we've gone through this, the more we've understand about our ICP, that ideal customer client profile. We understand the language that they're speaking. We understand how they communicate. And we understand inherently what they want and their pain points within the market and against our competitors. Our competitors are out there selling them SEO when they don't want SEO. They want leads. And even more specifically, like I said, they don't want leads, they want new cases, and they don't want a million phone calls because they have to take them all themselves. So that all factors in to how we position ourselves, to how we communicate our offer, to how we do our marketing, to how we do our sales, and ultimately how we deliver our service as well. So don't confuse features with outputs, right? This happens with software companies a lot. They push their features. That's not an output, right? An output is where somebody wants to get to. Where are they now? Where do they want to get to? And how can you help them to get there? So again, when we look at our attorneys, where are they now? Well, they don't have leads, and they're looking at their competitors rank on top of them and looking at their competitors grow, and they're looking at their competitors take cases away from them. That's a feeling that they have. That's what we want to tap into our other messaging too. We want to make sure that they feel the pain. We want to make sure that we tap into that pain so we can properly drive the knife into it and bring them our way. So again, features in terms of like link building and content marketing, those are features. Those are not outputs. Outputs is where they want to get to. Where are they now? Well, they don't have any leads. Where do they want to get to? Well, they want to have a couple of new cases come in that are worth a certain value to them every month. And this applies to everyone, not just attorneys. It applies to roofers. It applies to software companies. It applies to agencies. It applies to everyone. You just have to really understand who they are, what their problem is, and how you can tap into that. And again, focus on the output of what they want. And I'm going to talk more about the psychology of that in a second. So your offer is a solution to a painful problem that ultimately results in more customers. And I'm going to dive into this more and really why it has to result in more customers and why that's probably a big issue that you're having with trying to get your agency off the ground. So let's talk about market validation a little bit. There's 4 simple questions that will help you identify if a market is a good fit for your service, for your positioning, for your offer. Number 1, is there a pain that needs solving? Right? Again, not talking about services needed. Hey, I just built a website. I think I need SEO. That's not a pain. That's a solution that they've self-generated, right? That's not a pain that they have. A pain that they would have is I have a new website and I need more customers, or I have a new business and I need more customers. That pain, and the more painful that problem is, which is question number 2, is the more value that it is, right? So when we understand we're building an offer, that's why I said we want to build it around some form of acquisition, some form of growth, because we're tying that to revenue, which means we can anchor that against our pricing and we can charge more. And again, the more painful that problem is, the more that their client's worth to them, or the more lack of leads that they're getting, or the more that they see their competitors growing, the more painful that problem is, which means we can charge more for it and we'll ultimately have a larger impact with what we do as well. Is there purchasing power, right? So we're looking at a market for attorneys versus coffee shops. Coffee shops don't have a big purchasing power, right? They have a problem, the same problem that attorneys have. It's pretty painful because they'll probably go out of business if they don't get new customers. But do they have the ability to pay more than a couple $100 a month? Probably not. This is where a lot of you also get stuck. You niche down, you do things like photographers or coffee shops or, gyms, stuff like that, where yes, there's a huge market for it, huge market. There's a clear pain. It's a very painful problem because they'll go out of business if they don't solve it, but they don't have the ability to pay for it, right? And even if you help them grow, they still won't ultimately grow their income or their revenue or their budget with the amount of growth that you can drive. So those are the types of industries that you want to stay away from, the type of offers that you want to steer clear of. And is the customer easy to target and find? Something I always rely this to is basically, can I clearly segment this ICP in the market and can I easily find them? Can I use Facebook ads? Can I do outbound? Can I use LinkedIn? Is there a cluster of these people online that you can easily identify and easily get in touch with to bring in more customers of them? A good example of this is I have a friend, he runs a commercial lighting company. Their contracts are massive, right? $1 million or more in contracts. But the problem is he works with like warehouses. He works with franchisee chains, right? 1,200 or more. It's really hard to find that customer in the market. So marketing or doing any sort of sales is really challenging for him. He's basically just got to kind of wait till people come to him. So it's not that the offer is bad, but it's that the customer and the positioning of who they're trying to target is really difficult to find, which makes it really difficult to do any sort of outbound sales or any sort of marketing, which is what I'm going to push on you by the end of this. So let's go through a few positions here and just kind of go through these questions. So first one here is SEO optimized video scripts for educational YouTube channels. Is there a pain that needs solving? Yes, I need video scripts for my YouTube channel, right? How painful is the problem? Not that painful because, I could probably do it myself. I'm probably doing it myself. I could probably get somebody to do it for cheaper. AI is coming out. Is there purchasing power? Potentially. Is the customer easy to find? Not really, right? So this is one example that it's just going to be tough to grow. And when you go through this literally with your offer, your position, you're going to see why it's probably been so tough for you to grow, because you're not checking these things off, or it's just not a great offer. It's not something that people are really jumping at. Lead generation for attorneys. Is there pain that needs solving? Absolutely. How painful is it? It's very painful. If they're not getting cases, they're going to go out of business. Is there purchasing power? Absolutely. These guys are willing to pay whatever it takes. Is the customer easy to find target? Absolutely. Their job title is everywhere. Attorneys live and die by being an attorney, so they're easy to find. That's why this offer works so well. And they really want leads and they're willing to pay for it. So another one, link building for cannabis companies. Is there a pain that needs solving? Yeah. But in terms of their level of awareness, right? Does a cannabis company know that they need link building? They probably know that they need SEO. They probably know a little bit about it, but they probably don't know the specifics of link building, right? So is there a pain? Yeah. Are they aware of it though? Probably not. How painful is the problem? Not that painful for them because they probably aren't aware of it. Is there purchasing power? Depending on the company. Is the customer easy to identify and target? Yes and no. We know that they're a cannabis company, but cannabis is pretty much blacklisted online, so it's gonna be tough to get in touch with. So again, another one that maybe on paper going through positioning, it seems well, but after you go through this very simple question, you kind of understand that, again, why some of your offers are probably failing and why you're here, and I'm trying to help you out. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom way out and let's talk about the 3 categories of offers, right? This is zooming way out. Forget your agency for a second. This is pretty much any business model, right? If you want to run a successful and easy to run business online, you got to be in one of these three categories your offer does. Number one is health, right? Fitness, well-being, longevity, pets, animals, stuff like that. Number two, relationships, dating, marriage, kids, family. And number three, wealth. Basically, you're helping somebody make more money, right? And this extends to businesses, it extends to people. And again, this is why I said in a previous slide here that your offer has to be focused on acquisition, helping the business grow. Because if it's not, if you're not helping somebody make more money, you're just making it harder for yourself than it needs to be. Because if you're saying, I'll help you do like captions for videos, it's like, great, that indirectly might impact revenue, but it's never gonna be a top priority for a company because it's just not that painful, right? So we'll go back to those questions. Is there pain out there? Yeah, I need captions for my videos, but is it something that is very painful and keep me up at night? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, right? But if you go right to acquisition, we talk about leads, we talk about revenue, we talk about anything around staffing, saving money, increasing margins, anything where cash is directly involved, it's always going to be a priority for a business. So your offer is always going to stand out. So SEO agencies, for example, trying to grow traffic so that the business can make more money, right? So SEO does directly impact, but it's also a so that, right? And a better example of that might be software companies helping with HR tasks so that the business can make more money, right? It's a little bit more of a reach there. You can see that. And this is why, again, these offers are tougher because these offers tend to only work when a company is in market for them, when they've been like, yeah, I want HR, or like, yes, I want SEO, you know, because they're not directly looking at SEO necessarily as an acquisition tactic, or maybe you're just not positioning it to be so, which is why so many SEO agencies struggle, because you can't connect that pain with dollars. And if you can't do that, again, like I said, you're making it very difficult for yourself. So your offer should clearly summarize how you help your IC as an agency, as a consultant. Your offer needs to clearly drive towards getting your ICP more customers. Forget everything else. Focus on that. If you're not helping them get more customers, it's just going to be very, very difficult for you. It's going to be pushing a rock uphill. You're always going to have a tough time selling, a tough time getting customers, because it's not a priority. People just don't want to pay for it. That doesn't directly impact the revenue. When you go back to what marketing or advertising really is for, it's to get people more customers. That's somewhere along the line of the way it got lost. Somewhere along the line of the way, SEO got soft, and we started talking about content and like engagement. Pardon my French, but fuck that. Nobody wants to pay for that, right? They might want to pay for that, and you're probably being like, yeah, Ryan, I have clients that do that, but like, great, that's fine. But it's going to be really difficult to grow and scale that because ultimately the mass of the market doesn't want it, and it's not a painful enough problem. So you have to be able to relate your offer back to getting more customers. And now, especially if you are getting started, which I know you are, that's why you're here, you're going to want to focus very deeply, focusing on the deep pain of your ICP, but specifically niching down further, because as they say, the niches, the riches are in the niches, right? So let's look at this. For example, let's use a course as an example. If you have a time management course, you can probably sell it for $20. Very commoditized, ton of stuff out there, very general. It's not really going to impact people too much. Time management for sales pros, a little bit more specialized, a little bit more niche, right? Now we're saying specifically, and as a sales pro, I see that, and I'm definitely gonna be willing to pay more for it, right? Because it's specifically built for me. We're going to time management for outbound B2B sales, even more specific, right? B2B outbound versus B2C versus, small. This is going to be much more of a high ticket type sale. So there's also going to be a little bit more easier, higher price point to pay there because you can justify it more. And then we get even more down, time management for outbound B2B sales, time management for outbound B2B software sales, right? So we start getting into what's called the market of one, where you're creating offers for a very, very niche audience. Now you might feel like, hey, I'm cutting off my legs because I'm not able to reach as many people. But at the same time, you are creating something for a very specific, very painful pain point. And again, this might not be the best example, but you can just see how niching down and continuously niching down, especially when you're first getting started, it allows you to create a market of one, allows you to go and focus on a handful of people who you've got a very specific, very good solution for. That's going to be much easier to break in with them. It's going to be much easier to broker a conversation with them to ultimately try and sell them what you're selling them. So to tie this up, let's talk about building your offer statement. This is our agency's, essentially our statement. We help law firms get new client cases by dominating Google. Now, 3 key elements to building your offer statement. Who's it for? What do they want? And how do they get it? Now, keep in mind too, this is not set in stone. You don't have to put this on your website. Again, this is really almost like an elevator pitch that will just help guide your agency. So it'll help guide your offering. This is what you're going to be continuously optimizing against, because you'll be able to feel the energy of what you're selling against and all these different things. So the 3 parts of it. Who's it for? Law firms, right? So this yellow line here, we help law firms. Easy. Identifies our position, identify our ICP, and you can get even more specific here. We help personal injury firms. We help DUI firms. We help, divorce attorneys, right? So you can get even more specific, and the more specific, the better, the newer that you are. What do they want? Well, they want new client cases. That should be up there. Again, we've identified they don't care about rankings. They don't care about traffic. They don't really care about leads. They care about new cases. So we're just going to go all the way down there and we're going to focus on that. And while this is on my mind, this is important because a lot of you are probably struggling with imposter syndrome, right? You might be intimidated by walking up to a law firm and saying, I'm going to help you get new cases, as opposed to I'm going to help rank you, because you're confident in being able to rank them, but you're not confident in being able that ranking to drive new cases for them. If that's the case, you got to adjust how you're doing it, which is the last part here. How do they get it? By dominating Google. So what I mean by that is that for a while we were just doing SEO. We were doing our SEO sprint methodology. It was going great. But at the end of the day, we couldn't go up market and charge more because we weren't ultimately able to prove against the fact that SEO is driving more client cases. So our statement before was we help law firms rank first in Google. But again, who wants to rank first? They want new client cases. And it's really difficult to sell. This is really difficult to get to market against it unless you're giving them what they want. Like, why are you doing it if it's not ultimately what they want? And this is what I'm talking about with imposter syndrome, is that if you're feeling like I can't do this, I don't know how to do this, A, this is why we're here. We're here to help you to build offers and deliver services that actually have an impact. And B, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Go find another business model. If you can't go all the way to the end and get your ICP what they want, then you need to figure something else out, because this is always going to be very difficult for you. So you got to believe in yourself. You got to have a little bit of faith, and you should craft your offer based on what they want, not based on what you do. That's the most important takeaway from this video. Craft your offer based on what your ICP wants, not based on what you do. And if you can do that, build a simple offer statement, then you can build a service that drives towards this. Because if you just have rank first here, then you're ultimately just going to build a service that ranks them first, and they're not ultimately going to get what they want, which is going to make it harder for you to sell. It's going to make it harder for you to grow your business. I'm here to help you make money. That's it, y'all. If this is not something that you want to do, like I said, you're just making it very, very difficult for yourself. Like, you can go stick your head in the sand and try and sell SEO all day or Facebook ads, whatever it is. But if it's ultimately not what's going to help your client grow, your customer grow, what are you doing it for? You're wasting your time. Right? Focus on something that they actually want, build your offer around that. And if you do that, I promise you, it will be a lot easier for you. So that's crafting your offer. In the next video, we're going to talk about now starting to craft a service and learning the skills to deliver on your offer, right? Because what I'm teaching you here to do here is swing for the fences. Find a customer and an ICP that can pay for it, that wants what you do and has a problem. Put together an offer that solves that problem based on what they want, not based on what you can do. And now let's start talking about how to put together a service to deliver against that offer. So I'll see you in the next video.